Breezy,
Gritty, this that 9 to
Mo's
12.
nose, Peachy,
Gritty,
Fit a Dog.
It's about that time, everybody turn your TVs on. The Mo's knows Peachy, Breezy, and Fit a God. They keep it nitty gritty when they bring you 9 to 12. We two gorilla, silverback, nah, silver
You know it's
hoes.
busting the discussion cause we get it in. Every time you know we grinding, I was 8 to 10. We always play to win. The faithful going hard. It's Wayne, Breezy, Peachy, Mo's nose, and Fear to God. Let's get it.
Nitty gritty, this the 9 to 12. Don't like it, better take a walk. Nitty gritty, this the 9 to 12. We outline players up in chalk. Nitty gritty, this the 9 to 12. Don't like it, better take a walk. Nitty gritty, this the 9 to 12. 9 to 12. Nitty gritty, this the 9 to 12.
What's going on, 49er faithful? The Nitty Gritty Tag Team Duo is here. I'm not sure if the other members will be joining, but we know they're all more than welcome. Peachy, it's Monday. We got breaking news, and I don't want to waste any time. We're going to get right to it. Peachy, the news came out today that Deebo Samuel suffered a calf strain and will miss a couple of weeks. I need to know how you feeling about this particular situation, because something got to give with the Niners. Like something is wrong. Something's going on.
Yeah. Something definitely is going on. It's very crazy how I feel about it. Oh, I'm nervous, and I'm really, really nervous. We know how this team does when Deebo's not there. We've already experienced that. And Aiyuk seems to be on a milk carton. I know when I went downstairs a while ago to get some milk before the show, I saw Aiyuk's picture on the back of the milk carton.
Ooh, shots.
And I mean, as far as like, I mean, we're already without McCaffrey. And now Deebo. So two of our best players that we have that play on offense out of the group that we consider to be the best on offense, we have gone. And not to mention that Deebo was spelling Mason whenever he needed a break to do that. So, and now we don't have that.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be tough. I don't know if Deebo was spelling Mason, but he was definitely another option, because like what Kyle Shanahan likes to use is that illusion. We did see the rookie get into the game when Jordan Mason needed a break. Isaac Guerrero came in, so it seems like whenever Jordan Mason needs a breather, Guerrero is going to get the snap. Unfortunately, I felt like it was just one snap this game, opposed to a couple snaps last game, and we didn't see much of Deebo in this game. Like, that was the crazy part as far as rushing. Let me be clear. We didn't see much. Now, according to what Kyle Shanahan said at his presser, believe it or not, he says that Deebo feels like he got hurt on that play at the goal line with the pass, which was the dumbest play call in the game, hands down.
Yeah, it certainly was.
Dumbest play call. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know. You know, I forgot Terrace Marshall Jr. is on the practice squad. But here's the thing, Niners Nation. In order to bring him up, somebody's got to get released off of that 53-man roster. Released or waived or whatever. You know, looking at the roster, who's going to be the player that's going to be the, I hate to use the word expendable, but it was one of my favorite movies. So who's going to be the expendable player? Like, who do you think, like, who's going to be expendable in order to bring up, because you're not cutting Deebo, duh. You're not putting him on the IR, duh, right? So Deebo stays, he nurses his injury. Who's going to get the call up? Like, that's going to be the ultimate question, right? So you got to go. Go ahead.
We hope that Deebo is not going to wind up on the IR.
Right, because they're going to give it a couple of weeks.
Yes.
And then they're going to see if it doesn't, you know, go to something more severe like an Achilles
Just like you
tendonitis.
just brought up on Bleacher right before you came on here when you were just saying that. What if it's the same thing that McCaffrey's through?
It's possible. Because that's what isn't that what McCaffrey had? He had a calf strain, and then it developed into Achilles tendonitis.
Right.
I don't know. Niners _Nation says time to bring up Terrace Marshall Jr. from the practice squad while Deebo's out a couple of games. More targets for BA as well, for sure. This has definitely got to be something that they do. Now, listen, I don't know if they go Terrace Marshall Jr. Trent Taylor's on the practice squad. I think Tay Martin's on the practice squad. Or did they release Tay Martin and put Terrace Marshall Jr.? I can't remember. So, all I know is they do got a couple of options on the practice squad, but they're going to have to waive or release a player from the 53 in order to make room for, the practice squad player. It could be somebody like Tracy Walker III. He might get waived. I mean, he might get released.
Right.
And then the Niners may have to re-sign him back to the practice squad. There's ways to work around it.
Yeah.
I don't, it just sucks because you weren't thinking of, Deebo Samuel being injured, even though you knew Deebo might, you know what I mean? The way Deebo plays, it's a possibility. Michael asked a dope question. He says, are you worried about Kyle overusing Mason now?
No, I'm not, because whenever I had my say, let's just put it that way, because it's not the 8:00 mark yet, about the way that McCaffrey was being used, then, I was a Kyle hater and, all these things, and I don't need to worry about that. It's just football and that kind of stuff. So, no, I'm not worried about Kyle overusing Mason. Not at all.
Here's my take on that, right? Jordan Mason, he young. If he the bell cow, use the bell cow. He don't cost you a lot of money, and business is business. Christian McCaffrey, I felt the same exact way. I don't want to replace Christian McCaffrey with somebody that can't do what Christian McCaffrey does. Christian McCaffrey didn't appear to be injured last year, and he played his ass off last season. Did last season affect him this year? As far as the injury, we'll never know. We don't know that answer. So as far as he was fine in the offseason, didn't practice at the OTAs, didn't practice here, didn't do this, didn't do that. Apparently something was lingering on, and I just feel like the team knew about it, or I don't know, the math ain't mathing when it comes to Christian McCaffrey. Something is fishy about that whole situation. But the Niners did what they needed to do. They gave him they restructured his contract, they gave him his guarantees, and then boom, now he's on the IR. So the bright side to all of this, as far as these injuries, they're happening now. You know what I mean? The something that can dampen the bright side, though, PG, and tell me if you agree or disagree, is that some of these injuries can linger and potentially harm you later on down the line, if not treated properly now.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, the 49ers, I will give them one thing. They are trying to get ahead of a lot of these things. Like I said, we'll find out if Deebo's going to wind up on IR, because it wouldn't surprise me if Deebo wound up on IR. When McCaffrey's on his way back, hopefully he'll be all right or whatever. It's possible that Deebo could wind up on the IR. The most important thing is to have all these players ready when we need them, which is to be able to play in the playoffs. My whole Niner Cali boy had brought up a really good name. Actually, that's my guy, Conley. I forgot he's on the practice squad as well.
I think everybody's forgetting Deebo's role, though. So I want to focus on Deebo's role. Like this is my show, so I ain't pressed for time. Let's focus on the Z. Let's focus on what he does. Deebo is able to line up in the backfield. He's able to run the ball out of the backfield. He's able to catch passes out of the backfield. He's able to line up as a wide receiver. He's able to catch passes as a wide receiver. Deebo's role is the issue. It's not even the player. You could replace Deebo as a player with another wide receiver for sure, next man up, 1,000%, but you're not going to replace Deebo's role. Like, does that make sense? Like, his responsibilities and his role are detrimental to the team. That's why last year when he was out, this offense struggled, right? And now I'm trying to figure out, was Deebo injured? And that's why the offense was struggling yesterday. I don't know. It's just crazy just to hear this news.
Yeah.
It sucks. But
and my apologies. Conley did make the 53. So
yeah, he made the 53. Conley's on the 53. Conley was out there yesterday. Like, right, Conley made the 53-man roster. So they have receivers, okay? The 49ers have receivers. They have Chris Conley, Jawan Jennings. All of those guys could be your number 2 receiver. The question is, when you come out in the 3 wide receiver sets, how will it look? And if we know that the defenses have been, like, I don't want to say cheating, but they've been teeing off the fact that Christian McCaffrey isn't playing, so they're selling out to take away the run game, right? Because no one's Christian McCaffrey on the offense. Now you're losing Deebo. This is going to be crazy. Like, this could potentially look ugly over the next couple of weeks. We talked about winning gritty games. The Niners may have to win gritty on the road in LA, and when they come home and play the Patriots, it might be a gritty game because they're going to be playing an experienced quarterback like Jacoby Brissett, and then they're going to have to face this dynamic looking divisional opponent and the Arizona Cardinals that look like they are about to be take the lights off the NFL. Like, it could get real quick, right, Peachy? Or am I just bugging?
No, you're absolutely right. That's exactly how I feel. Like I said, we know what this team looks like whenever Deebo's not out there. And it just looks different. It does not look the same at all. Do I think that the 49ers can win some of these games? Yeah, but like Breezy said, it's going to have to be some gritty games. Like, it might be some of these games where it just comes down to like one special play or something, or it's just close at the very end and a field goal or something, because this is ridiculous. I'm thinking, okay, we're going to go to LA, Levi South and Cup's gone, Puka's gone. And I'm thinking, this defense just going to feast on these receivers and everything like that. And, they're going to stack for Kyron because they know that they're going to try to run Kyron as much as they can and all those different things. And now we have our own issues right now, missing our best running back and one of our top wide receivers. So it's just can't win.
This is funny. Time to panic, y'all. I'm not hitting the panic button. I'm not hitting the button yet. No need to panic. The Niners I think they're ill prepared for this. You got to remember, the Niners have been through this injury stuff, especially under the Kyle Shanahan tenure. Like, they came in injured. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I think they're ill prepared for this particular type of situation. But you're losing you're going to be without 2 special pieces.
Right.
Here's a player, okay? Michael on Facebook. Here's a player that I like. Here's a player that the 49ers may have to figure out how to factor in the offensive part of the game. Did he struggle on special teams? Yes. Does he struggle on offense? He has not proven that he struggles on the offensive side of the football. So special teams, he buffed the punt, cool. Is he going to be in the doghouse? That's the question. You know what I'm saying? That's the question. Here's my issue. Will Kyle stop being a dingbat and just utilize the pieces that he has? You have these dynamic rookies that could potentially be something, and you want to be like, I'm not going to play them, PG, because they're rookies and I don't want them to go out there and mess up and make a mistake. Your veterans are making mistakes. So why not just give the rookie a shot? Because if you needed the rookie to play, guess what the rookie would be playing? He would be playing. So this is a moment of need. No Deebo. I know there's a player in the backfield that can run jet sweeps and he runs them faster than Deebo. So he has the ability to get outside a lot quicker than Deebo. He might not be as strong, explosive, dynamic, whatever. He's fast enough to get to the outside. And if you want to know why the 49ers struggled against Minnesota Vikings, is because the Vikings eliminated all the outside zone plays where the Niners like to be comfortable. They were on every toss, on every sweep, on every jet sweep. They were there. Peachy, when the ball was hiked, I just finished. When the ball was hiked on those outside zone plays, when you're running outside the tackles, those Viking players knew to play. They were there to break it up, either a tackle for a loss or no gain or very minimal gain. Deebo Samuel, -1 yards on that pass, screen pass, -9 yards, like negative. Jordan Mason to the outside, negative. Nobody was running on the outside. They forced us to run up the middle, which it looked like it was working, but then they started stacking that box, and Kyle went with the quick throw game, and it was working. Like overall, I keep saying, the more I watch the game, I'm like, Purdy wasn't that bad. He just had a couple bad brain fart moments. Like, you know what I mean? Didn't look bad to me. Just had a couple of brain fart moments. Deebo was his guy, though, in that game. Maybe this is a game that's going to force Purdy to get back into the sync with Brandon Aiyuk. What do you think? Like, is this because him and Aiyuk need to get back on the same page?
Yeah, it's gonna have to, because Aiyuk is gonna have to show up in this game. And I have been one of those people ever since Aiyuk got his money, and even before that, saying, we shouldn't be, bringing up the fact of whatever. So I'm going to bring it up this way. Aiyuk is a top paid wide receiver. He is the highest paid wide receiver for the 49ers. He needs to show up. We have got to have more from Aiyuk than what we've gotten so far. If it's rust, if it's communication, whatever it is, get it together. Especially now, Aiyuk has got to show up and be that number one that he is supposed to be. Has to.
I mean, it's some of everything, right? Because Brock Purdy missed him like 17 times yesterday, like wide open. So you can't blame Aiyuk for being wide open. Now, if you want to go back to him dropping a couple of passes in week 1, that's fine. He didn't drop any passes in this game. But if Brock saw him or didn't see him, that's on the quarterback. So, I get what you're saying, but my thing is game plan to get Aiyuk going. So Brock does make the read. Because Brock usually is going to make the read to Brandon Aiyuk. If Brandon Aiyuk is wide open in the end zone and Brock sees that, he's going to throw it to Brandon Aiyuk. Why? That's his guy. But for some reason, he didn't do that yesterday. He didn't take advantage of Brandon Aiyuk doing what Justin Jefferson did to our defense. He didn't take advantage of that. I don't know. You could blame it on the offensive line, PG, for not blocking long enough, for them blitzing and speeding up the processing. But there was times I watched Brock go the progressions and he didn't look at Brandon Aiyuk, and he even said it. So if Brock is admitting to not going through his progressions and getting the ball to Brandon Aiyuk, then it's not all on BA, but I do understand and agree that we need to see more BA. However that is, whatever that means, we need more BA. So Kyle, with Deebo being out, Kyle's going to have to find a way to put him in the game plan, whether it's whip routes, quick, whatever. I don't know. Whatever Kyle needs to do, that's what Kyle needs to do. And that's why I asked you a question, like, what if Kyle Shanahan is experimenting? What if Kyle Shanahan is not calling the plays? Because some of the routes don't seem Kyle Shanahan-esque. Like they're too vanilla. They're too basic. So what if, who we say it was Clint? Because is Clay with us and Clint and
Clay's with us.
So what if it's Clay? What if Clay is testing the water just a little bit, and Kyle's allowing them and the passing game specialists and the run game, like he's just allowing them to kind of like figure some things out, just to put some stuff out there that they may have to come back to in week 17, 16, 15, the weeks where they're really going to be in it trying to lock down, either first place or just winning the division. Like, what if it's that? Am I too far fetched for saying anything like that? It doesn't sound like that would be a Kyle Shanahan thing, but what if we ask Kyle to progress, and what if this is him progressing and allowing his guys to show up?
Yeah, I mean, that's possible. If you look at some of the plays, it does seem like that some of the way that the plays are ran, like, it does kind of remind you of the way they were ran in preseason. And we know who was calling the plays in preseason because they said it.
We didn't know until they said it, though, right? So we thought it was Kyle.
Yeah.
And then Kyle said, oh, yeah, he was calling the plays.
Yep.
Clay, right?
Yeah.
So that's funny. I look, 49er throwback says, but but Kyle Shanahan is the offensive genius. What if this is part of his genius? Like, hear me out. Like, come on. It's week 2. We're 1-1. I think the goal is to, like, the first week, to go 3-1, at least 500, right? If you can go undefeated, that's a great thing. But the way it's looking for the Niners, it's going to be a little hard to play at a level when you're missing certain key players, right? Mm-hmm. And so when I went back and watched the game, and I was doing my film analysis notes for the Patreon, I'm taking notes, and I'm like, all right, cool. So, like, the offensive line, I didn't think it was terrible, but a couple of players, especially the tackles, didn't look good. So, like, Trent Williams had a few plays where he just wasn't Trent Williams, and Colton McKivitz was Colton McKivitz. Like, that's it. That was it. And Jake Brendel was Jake Brendel. And then you get your guards doing great in pass pro and decent to me in run blocking. So, like, the offensive line overall was okay. When you look at the 6 sacks, it was not about the 6 sacks. It was about the way those 6 sacks happened to me, because there was, like, back-to-back sacks in that third quarter. The third quarter was so bad for the 49ers between penalties, sacks. It was just bad. It was like a bad flow against the Vikings. And I just think that Brian Flores, I can't say his name, Brian Flores went into halftime and cranked up the pressure. He just went and turned up. He dialed it up. And Kyle Shanahan wasn't ready. Like, Kyle couldn't counter that pressure. It's like, you going into a sauna, you good for, you've been in it for a while, you good, but somebody on the outside, like on Final Destination, turned that shit all the way up. You about to die. Like, right? I think Brian said, cranked it up, and next thing you know, it got too hot. Then, like, let me go through it. I'll go through it with you. You ready? That third quarter was very, very weird. Even though the Niners couldn't get going, the third quarter was weird. All right, here we go. Third quarter, 15 minutes starts. Niners, they defense 3 and out, right? They rush for 4 yards, okay? Incomplete pass. All right, you got the intentional grounding call, which made it even longer. So it ended up being, 3rd and 23. Remember, I got pissed that we gave up like a 6-yard play. 4th and 14, they punt. The Niners get the ball. That's what everybody cares about. Look, Jordan Mason, 9-yard run. Brock Purdy got sacked by Grenard on the next play. Then Jordan Mason, -2 yards. Listen to the series of plays. Jordan Mason, -2 yards rush, right? Sack on Brock Purdy by Pat Jones II for -5 yards. We had to punt the ball. That was our first offensive drive of the third quarter. So it was a positive run, not an explosive run, but a positive run, a sack, a negative run, a sack, a punt. That's terrible. That right there is like, what the heck? All right. Then we forced them to punt again. So the defense went out and did their damn job. The Niners got the ball back. Right? The Niners got the ball back. Jordan Mason got the first carry. Okay? No yards. I'm trying to tell y'all, that they were stacking the box. Peachy, they literally were putting men in the box to take away the run, especially up the middle. So, and they took away the right. A lot of the runs were to the right, and they took away the outside zone. You just could not get there. And then on the next play, right after the first series, what did Brock do? He threw the interception to Joshua Metellus. That pass was intended to Kyle Juszczyk, and it ended up being an interception because the ball got tipped. It was in the air for a little long time, and they came down with it. And so it was like, dang. Then the very next drive, after the Vikings scored their touchdown, the very next drive, first play of that drive, 6 minutes, 49 seconds to go, sack. It was like, offense, get your shit together. It was like negative play, negative play, negative play. Okay, a positive play, negative play, negative play. That was the issue. They couldn't figure out their identity in the third quarter because I think Brian Flores, who I tip my hat to, and his players for executing their game plan when they cranked it up. Let me just read this last one because it's toward the end of the third quarter, okay? First play was a sack. Then you get an explosive play. 22 yards down the field, it negates that sack, right? That was to Brandon Aiyuk, one of his big catches in the game. Next play, -1 rushing yards. That was the Deebo Samuel. The first outside zone run we saw to Deebo Samuel went for -1 yards, okay? The 49ers called a timeout. Then they get a positive run, but it was from Brock Purdy. 11-yard gain. Jordan Mason, next play, run, 1 yard. Next play, they blitz, sack, -6 yards. The next play, they blitz again, sack. And so we had fumble on that play. Remember, Brock Purdy threw the ball, and we thought it was an interception, and it went right into the defender's hand. It was a fumble. So on that next play, we just gave him the ball back, and then it wasn't until the fourth quarter. And so, that was the third quarter. If you told me that would happen again to the San Francisco 49ers, then I would say that they're a bad team.
Yeah.
But I know that's not the San Francisco 49ers. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's just crazy. It was almost like with some of the plays, like the Flores knew what we were going to do before we even did it.
Mm-hmm.
They were ready for a lot of what we were doing. I think Baldy pointed that out in his breakdown, and we're all ready to, for your breakdowns. I think Sin had brought that up too. Sin said that she's ready for your breakdown. So
thank you, Sin.
Because she learned a lot from you. She learns a lot from you and things. Because I know that they're already saying that it was like he knew exactly almost every move that we made. Like he knew
it was a mirror. It was like we were playing in a mirror.
We were doing.
You know how you play in the mirror, you see your reflection, and if you do this, you do this like that.
Yeah.
What was that? It was almost like we couldn't move. Everywhere we moved, he took the right step. So you gotta tip your hat. And thank you, Miss Sin, and thank you, Baldy, for pointing that out. Because I was saying it last night on an overreaction. I don't even know how I was able to have some type of, bright sidedness to the whole situation, because it just, nothing about yesterday felt right.
Right.
Even the turnovers, we couldn't even get excited about our turnovers because we went and gave them the ball right back.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It was weird. It was super weird. But listen, they beat us fair and square. At the end of the day, the Niners took the L. They got to take the lump. And the question is, how will they bounce back? So for the rest of this episode, PG, let's talk about moving on to the Rams. I already got Rams fans in here. They're pissed off because I called them the Lambs. They said that's disrespectful. Now, y'all know y'all the Lambs. Y'all come in here, call us the 40 whiners. You talk about how trash our team is, and you mad because I called y'all the Lambs? Miss me with that, please.
And
y'all come in here. Go ahead, Peachy, because they come in here talking trash,
Right.
respectfully though. It's not like it's smack talk. We won't call it trash. We'll call it smack talk,
Right.
because they do it respectfully. So they're really good people. But don't be mad if we called you the Lambs. You call us the Whiners. So what's the difference?
Not just that is I'm really trying to figure out, like, respectfully, how you think that there's going to be a beatdown. Now, I'm not even like predicting win or loss. I'm just talking about a beatdown. Like, there's not going to be a beatdown for this squad.
Frank, Peachy's right? Peachy's right. I really agree with Peachy, right? We always arguing, but come on. And on what earth do you think you're going to beat down? We're still talking about the Rams team that can't beat the 49ers at home.
Right.
During the regular season. Let me make sure I put that caveat in there because they beat us in the playoffs once.
Okay.
During the regular season. You can't beat us there at home. Now, what Peachy is trying not to say is how y'all going to beat us down with a handicap team. I know she don't want to say that, but that's what she's trying to not say. She don't want to offend anybody. But think about it. And the Niners, listen, we talked about the Niners. They're going to be without Christian McCaffrey. They're going to be without Deebo Samuel. And it looks like the Rams are going to be without Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. They do get Jimmy Garoppolo back. If I'm Sean McVay, you know what I do? If I'm Sean McVay, I say, Matt, listen, man, you paid. Go ahead and sit the next couple of games out. Let me get this Jimmy guy character in here for a little bit. Let's see how he plays against his old team. Like that's what I do. If I'm Sean McVay, you know what I'm saying? If I'm Sean McVay, I sit down Matthew Stafford, but Kyron Williams got to play. Like those guys, the rest of the guys got to play. Sit down your quarterback, save him as early as the beginning of the season, and let Jimmy go out there and see what he could do against the 49ers. If the 49ers in any way lost to Jimmy Garoppolo, I will lead the Fire Kyle Shanahan campaign. I will jump on Grant Cohn's train.
Right.
I promise you, if Jimmy is the starting quarterback, which he's not going to be, but if he is, just because if I'm Sean McVay, I'm trying to make a funny statement. I'm going to do that. I'm doing that. I'm going to let Jimmy play. And if he beats San Francisco 49ers, Kyle's got to go.
I mean, yeah, this right here.
And I understand that. That's why I said. That's why I'm saying.
Like, but I will say this. I would be more nervous about Sam Darnold providing the Vikings with information about what the 49ers do on offense and what they see on defense and so on and so back for than Jimmy Garoppolo trying to explain to someone how to play football. That's all I'm saying. Because I don't think there's one thing that Jimmy Garoppolo could tell McVay or the Rams that would help them to, like, would increase their chances, let me put it that way, of beating us. Nothing. Because I'm not even sure that Jimmy even knows what he's doing when he goes out there. So therefore,
that's why
at least
psychovalue.
Sam knows, like what he's doing.
Psychology, you know what I'm saying? Like, put Jimmy in. I dare you.
So it's, I fear, like, I literally would say I have more fear with Sam Darnold and what he must have communicated with the Vikings or whatever than I do Jimmy. Like, I don't fear Jimmy one minute. You could actually have the play plan right in front of his face, and I promise you he still would not be able to shed any kind of anything to McVay or anyone else. That's all I'm saying.
I'm with PG. I ain't say I was gonna quote the mother trucker. I said I would jump on that train because at that point, Kyle, you lost to Sam Darnold, and if you lose to Jimmy, Kyle probably would lose to Trey Lance if he played. If Trey Lance played with the Kyle, if I'm all the opponent teams, I'm starting 49ers ex-quarterbacks against Kyle Shanahan just to see if Kyle could beat his former quarterbacks. That's just me. That's what I'm doing.
If the Rams march out Jimmy Garoppolo, The 49ers will beat them like college scores.
Damn.
I'm just saying. They would literally beat them just like college scores. Like the Tennessee Vols this weekend, what was it? 68
I don't know what 49ers team you be watching, Peachy, but ain't no 49er team on the face of this side of the planet of the earth, the solar system is putting up more than 40 points. Like, it's just not happening. Like, I just don't ever see that. I want it to, but it ain't happening.
They would destroy the Rams. Not to mention that aren't the Rams missing like Noteboom and two other people, two other tackles, or a guard or something, or
they're missing some guys.
Something like that. They're missing a lot.
They get a guy back though this week. They get one of their linemen that was suspended back, right?
Yeah, but Noteboom got injured. He's going to be out for a while. I know that. I don't remember if he's out for the season or if he was just on the. I'm not sure. I know Noteboom is one of them.
What a weird season. Just the way that these. Have we ever seen NFL injuries? Mose, you ever seen NFL injuries like this early? Like severe
that
ones?
many.
Like ones that is going to sideline you for several weeks. Usually if it's an injury, you're out. But these are like.
It's like no major ones, but it's like nagging enough to where like Deebo out 2 weeks, CMC out 4 weeks, Cooper Kupp is out a couple weeks, Puka Nacua is out a couple weeks, Justin Jefferson got hurt. I don't know what his prognosis is yesterday. Like it's a lot of these little nagging injuries, and I wonder if the shortened preseason now has an effect on that. Because you see a lot of teams, they don't even play their starters in any of the 3 preseason games. When it was 4 games, you at least knew that third preseason game, all the starters were going to play at least a half. And then that 4th preseason game, they don't play, and then they get ready for the season. So I wonder if that has something to do with it. Ralph says players don't practice enough, so more injuries. I mean, the NFL and the NFLPA have tried to revamp how teams practice. Of course, you're going to get a lot of the older guys and the older generation say, yeah, they don't practice like we used to. They used to have full pads, full helmets, full hitting, like they was taking people heads off in practice, and that kind of translated to the game. So, you know, people will say, well, the game is soft nowadays. I disagree with that because these are still grown men. These are still 200, 250, 300-pound men running 25 miles an hour. So I'm not going to say the game is soft, but I think the differences in how they prepare and how they practice and what they go through in the off season, you know, could be affecting some of these, not season ending, but nagging, you know, soft tissue injuries that we start to see, you know, on the rise in the league.
So I have the new rules for IR that we have throughout the season. Do you think that also is contributing to a lot of these teams deciding to do that? You know, because before, you know, at first, you know, of course you had IR, you were just out. And then before, you know, how like if they were on IR, then you can only put them on that one, you know what I'm saying? And then that was it and whatever. Now it's like you can put them on there as, you know, basically what, 3 times or twice or something like that. You can put them on there. I wonder if the reason why that a lot of teams are reacting like that is because they have that ability to do that now.
So, Peachy, that's a great question. But you know what conversation you start to get into in the NFL that's been happening in basketball? Load management.
That's right.
But I think the new rule hinders the new rule prevents that. So if you understand the new rule, it's preventing the load management because it's forcing the coach to have to make the decision to put the player on the IR, and then they can only bring that player back once or twice, I believe. Right. So that, and you only have like, I can't remember if it's 10 spots, 7 spots, 6 spots. You don't have a lot of spots. So if you remember the year where the rule first came in, we were in the NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles. You remember that? And what happened? We brought back Elijah Mitchell and we put Hassan Ridgeway on there right prior, and we needed Ridgeway, and Mitchell didn't even play. And so Kyle burnt his bringbacks. He burnt his opportunity to bring backs. So the next season, Kyle rarely put motherfuckers on that jump. Like it was like, yo, you gotta have a hanging limb if I'm gonna put you on that joint because Kyle didn't want to. And so now this year he was doing the same thing. He didn't want to put people on the IR. He was trying to see if he can work them, put them on the roster, if blah 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 whatever. And so who's on the IR right now? Ambry Thomas, a couple of players that are on the
CMC.
IR. Who? CMC got designated to the IR, and so like when you start putting multiple players on there, you can only bring them back a certain amount of time. So it comes down to like time, like managing the joint. And I don't think Kyle got it. I don't think any NFL coach has the management of the IR right. So actually, the new rule is kind of bad. Like it was better when it was the old school rules. Because then you knew exactly what you needed to do. Player was out for several weeks and they could come back. They could only come back twice. They come back. You put them on IR, they come back. As long as they do their 4 to 6 weeks. I can't remember what it was. So now it's a minimum of 4 weeks. They open you up to practice. That's when your practice window opens. And then the coach has up to 2 weeks to keep you on the IR or bring you back to the 53. So like it's just weird. Like whatever. As far as the soft thing you talked about, I think I get why a lot of people feel it's soft, and it's because of the lack of the contact, the physicality during practice. And yeah, Mose, you're 100% correct. The NFLPA wants to prevent a lot of the injuries and the impacts in the practices, but then you're getting them in the game, and all the fans that are paying $8,000 billion a year for season tickets aren't getting their money's worth. Like something got to give. Like, and I know people that sound crazy because we talk about injuries. I don't give a like. I'm paying to see you. Like I'm paying to see the stars out there on the football field because the ticket prices don't drop when Deebo Samuel's out of a game. The ticket prices don't drop when Patrick Mahomes doesn't play a game. The ticket prices don't drop.
Nope.
The food prices don't drop. Travel don't drop. Hotel don't drop. It's the Chiefs. So or the Niners.
Like me buying Sixers tickets one year for me and my dad to go, and AI didn't play, and I was like,
it's like that ticket was still expensive. Now if AI not on the team, the tickets is dirt ass cheap. Like it's like now you go and buy all the tickets. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I'm trying to say. So like, I feel like when people say that the game has gotten softer, I think they mean it in a sense where like players just can't withstand injuries, but I think the injuries are different. And I think that's what Moses was alluding to. Like these are more soft tissue injuries to where they're like nagging. We're talking a calf strain in Christian McCaffrey. And the calf, I'm touching my calf right now. But if the inflammation is there and I'm still walking on it or doing stuff on it, it's gonna spread. And now I'm gonna put more strain on a different ligament or muscle or whatever. Right? I have knee issues. So I'm sure my body is overcompensating my weight because my knee got messed up and now my feet hurt, right? That's what's going on with Christian McCaffrey. We're hoping none of that happens with Deebo Samuel. So now you got to just let him rest. You got to let him rest. Speaking of Deebo Samuel, his podcast starts tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. And guess who's the first guest on his podcast?
BA.
Yes, Brandon Aiyuk. I don't want the faithful slewing Brandon Aiyuk for being a guest on Deebo Samuel podcast.
Oh, you know they're gonna do it.
I know, but please, guys, just let them do their thing. Please, promise me. Don't slew them. Let them have some fun. It's a new opportunity. I mean, Deebo's injured for a few weeks, so let him get his podcast on. Brandon Aiyuk, listen, you got 5 minutes on there. You get your ass back to practice, dog, because you need to get back in the sink. but I'm thinking like, if that's that to me, that's like, I don't know. They're gonna come after them. Deebo and Aiyuk, get ready. They coming for you. I'll try to help, but they're gonna come for you. I can tell you that right now. Deebo injured too. Oh, they coming.
You know it's gonna be.
They coming. They coming. So let's talk about this Rams game. We got about 15 more minutes. We're gonna jump off here. Let's talk about this Rams game. Rams. I'm not gonna sit here and say that the game against the Cardinals is the Rams' final product. I think they just got down early, and it was really a tough hill to climb. But if I put things into perspective, the 49ers struggle early to score. They struggle early to get into a rhythm. So if we're struggling early, whereas we're not throwing the ball down the field to a Marvin Harrison Jr. that can split these defenses and be wide open, and he has a big catch radius, right? We methodically drive down the field. So let's keep it a buck. Like how on a Madden level, like all Madden being most difficult, you know, the other level before all Madden hard and then intermediate easy. Like how is this game going to fare for the San Francisco 49ers? Let's go Mose Peachy.
I think for me, I want to see it be a defensive game, but I want to see it be a complete defensive performance. I think in the first two games, Fred Warner has clearly separated himself. Like, I thought he was outstanding against the Jets. Fred Warner was an absolute menace against the Vikings. Forced 2 fumbles, had an interception. Like, he was everywhere. Yes, Nick Bosa got 2 sacks, but I need to see the same intensity from everyone else on this defense. Yes, it's Justin Jefferson, but you give up a 97-yard touchdown pass with them backed up into their own end zone. Like, that's unacceptable. I think from a coverage standpoint, especially when you bring in 2 guys like Nick Sorensen and Brandon Staley to help with the back end, to help with what we have from a pass rush standpoint back there. Like, and I think you have a game where you get no Cooper Kupp and no Puka Nacua. So while that's not ideal for confidence, maybe, to say, you know, we went up against Matthew Stafford with his 2 top weapons and we shut him down. Let's call a spade a spade. This should be a bit easier not having to guard both of them dudes. So our secondary in this moment needs to step up and prove that, yeah, we are going to be the better unit on the field on Sunday, even if they don't have those 2 guys. Yes, we understand they don't have those 2 guys, but then that means we really are better because you don't have your best going up against our best. So I want to see a complete effort from our defense. I don't want to see just Fred Warner making plays. Yes, he's going to make his plays, but I want other people to step up and kind of take some of that load off of him, take some of that pressure off of him. And I want to see a complete performance. So I think if we can do that, then I think our offense will be fine.
PG, Mo spoke about the defensive game plan. He wants to see it a little bit. He wants the defense to figure themselves out. They got to figure out what their identity is, basically. And I thought that was spot on. Let's flip the script, though. Let's talk about the offensive side. Let's talk about like how, and this is where it can be a little bit more difficult, right? Mo said that it shouldn't be too difficult for the defense, but now you're missing Deebo Samuel, PG, my favorite player, and you're missing Christian McCaffrey. And so how difficult is it going to be for this offense to go up against this young defense, which there's no Aaron Donald. So that's a breath of fresh air, right? But they do got they got Jarrett Verse, rookie, Braden Fisk, rookie. They got some guys out there. They got some dogs. They got some guys that can cover. I just want to know how you're looking at it from an offensive perspective, and then I'll give you my takes.
From an offensive perspective, I think Jordan Mason is going to have a big day against this Rams team. I also don't see Trent back-to-back having, I don't call it bad games, but not as good as we hoped that he would have. So I'm looking for Trent to come out of that and to have a really good game. And if the left side is of course controlled by Trent, so the right side, Pooney and the guys on that side, I feel like that overall the O-line is gonna be better. I really do. One, it's very familiar to them. There's a couple of new ones on there, of course, but Trent and everybody else, they played against this Rams team. I know that they have some different pieces. Definitely helps not to have Aaron Donald on this team. And I think that right there is going to make a huge difference just in itself. I just see our offense with Aiyuk, Kittle, however we're going to use them, whatever wide receivers are brought up, if it's Bell or Conley or whoever to not brought up, but put out there to really be active in this game. I just feel like that just game planning and everything, because it's a divisional game, the 49ers always seem to just have the leg up when it comes to the Rams. So I just feel like that it's just going to be business as usual. It's just going to be the same. It's just going to be Levi South all over again. And I think the mentality of these players to know that they've beat this team so many times, I really think that will also help. Because Minnesota, players knew that we haven't beat Minnesota in so long. And to know that you just beat the Rams just a couple of months ago, really, like less than a year, when the season was going on, like you literally beat them. So I just feel like that overall, I'm very optimistic about this game, regardless of who we have on our side. The Rams are missing two of their biggest wide receivers. Everyone, I'm telling you, I watched this Rams game, especially week 1, and all they were looking for was Puka and Cup. That's pretty much what it was. Both of those guys are missing. I feel like that the 49ers run defense, I hope that it seems like it, hopefully it'll be improving. I think it will with Kyron, because one, you're going to know that they're going to be trying to get the ball to Kyron. And I just don't see this defense having to worry about that situation right there at all. So as far as the 49ers offense goes, I'm very optimistic about this game. I feel that Kyle will have a good game plan, knowing that he's game planned against this squad so many times. That's how I feel.
Very well spot on, right? Like Kyle Shanahan knows Sean McVay, just like Sean McVay knows Kyle Shanahan. It could kind of go both ways, but like you said, like when it comes to regular season football, Kyle Shanahan and his team is definitely usually prepared. Colton McKivitz usually plays very well against the Rams, but that was when they had a guy like Aaron Donald. They don't have Aaron Donald. They do have Kobe Turner though, and I feel like he's their second coming. He's not Aaron Donald, but he can be a force. I think he was the second player had sacks last year, led the team with sacks. Second player leading the team with sacks next to Aaron Donald. So they do got her up. They got her up front. They're going to look to take away the run, especially without Deebo. And Christian McCaffrey back there, so I can see this little 3-4 defense, which Brock struggled last week against a 3-4 defense. That 3-4 front gave Brock like the fits, and so when I look at Byron Young, that's one of my favorite players in the NFL. People might not like it. I met him at the Senior Bowl, fell in love with him. Mad the Niners didn't draft him. He goes to my rival. That's just how it works out, right? Dude was a problem. He's there. He's one of their outside linebackers. We saw the Niners struggle in that 3-4 against outside linebackers. So will that be an issue? I did want to point out they blitz Kyler Murray 26.9% of the time. The Vikings blitzed the 49ers and Brock Purdy 51.1% of the time. He was blitzed on 23 of his dropbacks. He had 45, so 51% of his dropbacks were blitzes. They weren't stupid to blitz Kyler Murray. Mose, do you think that they're going to dial up the blitz knowing that Brock Purdy struggled against the types of blitzing from the Minnesota Vikings?
I think they're going to try, but I think they're going to back away from it because I don't think they have the same type of defense and defensive scheme that the Vikings have. I think they're going to try to blitz early, one, to try to get under Purdy's skin, but I think, two, they're going to have to find a way to manufacture pressure. Without Aaron Donald, who was a one-man wrecking crew and who allowed things to open up for everyone else, they're going to have to find a way to manufacture some of that pressure. But I think that leaves some holes within that defense. I think even without Deebo, I think Juwan gets more targets. I think Kittle continues to get his same amount of targets. Yeah, will they try it? Sure. But I think they're going to have to come out of that pretty early.
The reason why I brought that up is because Brock Purdy's not Kyler Murray. So he doesn't pose the threat of running. And so you're not going to blitz a running quarterback. They know that Brock Purdy's going to be looking to stay in the pocket. Brock Purdy struggled against more of that kind of like delayed type of blitzing. They might not have the same type of personnel, like you said, as Minnesota, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't try, right? Like they're going to try it. Brock Purdy last year was number one quarterback against the blitz, but it was specific types of blitzing. He struggled against the zero blitzes. And so those are the blitzes that I'm kind of a little concerned with. He struggled in this game. Like that was the pass that got tipped on the 4th and 2. It got deflected, right? It was going to Juwan Jennings on the goal line. It was nice play design. It was perfect. Juwan Jennings was walking in with a touchdown, and their defensive player made a goddamn play on the ball, right? It's like they knew your responsibility is to make sure that the ball don't come across the middle of the field, and that's what they did. I'm with Mose. Possibly they don't have the personnel to do it, but they are 0-2, and they're 0-2 for a reason. Peachy alluded to, which I thought was dope because Mose, you talked about the offense, but Peachy said, hey, well, because of the offense, their defense, is going to be on the field a lot, right? So, I mean, their defense should be pretty much worn out. Here's my question, though. The Niners struggle early offensively, and that was with Deebo Samuel. So now, Deebo and McCaffrey's out. Who's the guy? Who are the players? How will the Niners attack this Rams 3-4 front defense?
I think you have to get, if they blitz, you have to get Kittle involved early. You have to get him involved early and often. And then once they back off of the blitz, a lot of offseason talk amongst the 49er circles is we were scared about our run defense. Well, in week 1, the Rams gave up 163 yards on the ground. Week 2, they gave up 231. And I know what you said about Kyler Murray, but Kyler Murray only had 5 carries for 59 yards. Now, while that's a 10-yard carry average, he's a quarterback. He had wide open lanes. He can get those yards pretty easily. He didn't have a Lamar Jackson game where he had 12 carries for 112 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had 5 for 59. They gave up 122 to James Conner. So we beat this team by, if they do decide to blitz, get the ball to George Kittle early and often. Once they back off the blitz, continue to feed the ball to Jordan Mason. This Rams defense, without Aaron Donald, cannot stop the run. They gave up 163 and 231. We need to be somewhere in between them two numbers with yards on the ground. If we do that, we won't have no problems in this game.
Just having the mindset of just running the ball. Like the game plan has to be run the ball, set up the play action pass. I think what happened against the Vikings, that was the game plan. But then when they saw the 8-man fronts and then the blitzing, it had to change. Then Kyle tried to change it up. He went with the quick throw game. It was working. The Niners couldn't get into a rhythm. My issue is the Niners not getting into a rhythm. So, yeah, you can run the ball. I'm all for it. And if it's working, don't motherfreaking try to fix it, right? But it can't be Jordan Mason. You got to figure out, because now there's no more Deebo Samuel. So this would have been a perfect game for Deebo to tee off to stretch the ball to the outside zone. Outside zone is key. Like let me be clear and frank. I hate the toss plays. I still love outside zone. But the toss plays feel like a delay because the ball got to hang in the air for a second, and then you're hoping the back sees the vision and cuts the hole, and he's got to get the ball first. Like it's an extra way to make a mistake. Just hand the goddamn ball off to him and let him run to the outside and let him cut back in if he can. That's what I want to see. But if we're not able to stretch that field, I'm going to be honest, it could be a long day in California. And I know this isn't the same team that we beat Pryor, whatever. It's still a strong McVay team. Are they missing some key players? For sure. Are we missing some key players? Absolutely. So it's going to come down to the Niners getting into a rhythm early, setting the tone on the road, being pissed to freak off that they lost a game that they felt like they could have won in Minnesota again. Yes. You know what I'm saying? It's going to come down to their mentality. It's will. Do they want to win the game? That's the question.
And I'm looking at the box score from yesterday's game, and I only see Isaac Guerrero with one touch.
One.
And
just
they're blitzing, and they're blitzing, and they're blitzing. They blitz us on 51% of
51.1, bro. I'm exact
dropbacks.
With my number. Yes.
Like, I only see one carry for Guerrero, and I only see one reception for Jordan Mason. And we talked about this at the beginning of the season. We talked about it before the Jets game. Like, when are we going to see some screens? Especially now, if we don't have CMC and we don't have Deebo to get to that outside zone, to stretch the field, get to the edge and cut it upfield, then why can't we see Guerrero with some screens?
I miss George Kittle in the backfield getting a screen pass. I miss that. I don't know where it is. I don't know where it went. But that was a dope screen option. Then Deebo teed off that year. He had like 85,000 yards, and we just left George Kittle alone. Now, Deebo's not here. Will we get the tight end screen? Will we get a running back screen? Peachy, you talked about Kyren Williams, and that's my threat. That him catching the ball, and the Niners can't stop screens. I don't give a fuck what you say. We can't stop the screen. So if Kyren Williams can't run, that's cool. You said focus on Kyren Williams, take away the run. But yeah, what happens when Matthew Stafford's trying to get, because Matthew Stafford is going to screen pass to Kyren Williams. That is part of the way that they utilize him. And if the Niners struggling stopping the screen, how much of a threat will he be in their pass receiving game?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that Kyren definitely can get off that way. He absolutely can. I am just honestly hoping that our pass rush is going to show up and we're going to be able to throw Stafford off of what he does so that we can, as usual, get him to throw picks, make some bad decisions, having to throw the ball super fast. I'm hoping that that's what's going to happen with that. Kyren, definitely, you're right about that. He has now become the biggest threat on this offense. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this question, because you talked about Stafford. You talked about pass rush, right?
Mm-hmm.
The last time we played Matthew Stafford, we lost. But was that a home game? I feel like that was the home game. Or did we lose in L.A.? Then we played the Rams at the end of the season and we lost. That was at home, right? It's the last game of the year. We didn't play anybody, remember?
Yeah, we didn't play anybody.
I just can't remember if it was at home or away. Anyway, the first time we played them, though, was when we got introduced to Puka Nacua.
Yes.
and Matthew Stafford literally became a different type of quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Ask me how. This motherfucker was getting the ball out of his hands in 1.7 seconds, 1.6 seconds, 1.4 seconds, 1.3 seconds. So this is peachy. This is the rush 4 game. This is the game where you just rushing your 4. Your ends got to contain the edges, because Stafford will kind of run. He's not as mobile, but he will, right, to extend a play. And you got to be disciplined, because if not, Stafford's gonna dirt you up. Now the question is, can he do it with DeMarcus Robinson and all those other guys? Like, that's going to be the issue. Like, that's going to be the question. Like, can he get it done? They might not all be in sync. They might need more time to get into some type of rhythm or whatever. But that is what Matthew Stafford's going to do. What we want him to do is hold the ball and try to get the ball downfield.
Yes.
That's when he's inaccurate And that's where the interceptions happen. That's when the sacks happen. So will the 49ers secondary bounce back against Matthew Stafford? Ready, set, go. Peachy.
Yes. I do believe that our secondary is going to bounce back. I think our defense as a whole is going to have a really great game. I do not believe that our secondary looks as bad as they may have to be yesterday. I just really do not believe that for nothing. That Rams game was at home at Levi's, and it was 21-20. So even with us not playing nobody, we lost by 1 point.
Mm-hmm. No, I got you. It was. I just couldn't remember if it was at home, because I remember the first game Stafford was dicing us up. It was a close game. That first one was close.
Yeah.
But he didn't have Cooper Kupp, and that was when we got introduced to Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
But he also had Tyler Higbee, and the Niners struggling stopping tight ends. So we haven't had to play any tight ends this year, luckily, as of yet.
They do still have Tutu Atwell. I did forget about him.
That's what I'm saying. He's a guy that can line up in the backfield. He's a guy that can run out of the backfield. Yes, Tutu Atwell is there. I felt like he had a pretty good game against us one season. So these are some guys they're going to have to rely on. Like the Niners, in my opinion, it's more about what the Niners need to do opposed to what the Rams can do. It's what the Niners need to do. Like I feel like the Niners game plan needs to be aggressive, right? It can't be just Fred Warner. Like we can't have the mental breakdown mistakes out there on the football field, not knowing who to cover in the flat, who's covering the flat. Like, how do you not know what your role and responsibility is? That confused the hell out of me. So when you see these 3-by-1 formations, you got one player on this side, 3 players on this side, and you got 3 defenders on the side with the 3 guys, somebody's going to the flat because somebody's looking to get a first down outside. They're looking to get that. We botched that 3 to 4 times in the fourth quarter yesterday. And I was just like, oh my God, if Isaac Yiadom doesn't get out of the game, I'm going to lose my mind. And it was like when he came in the game. So it was like, I've never seen that before. I've never seen the Niners brain fart in coverage before. Did the Vikings do something different that made the Niners question their roles and their responsibilities most? Like, what do you think?
Honestly, I don't think they did anything different. I just think no.
Bro, they were lying. They did these 3-by-1 formations, right?
They were, and I think I'll give them that. I think Kevin O'Connell schemed it up. It was like it was late in the fourth quarter. I think it was we had him at like a 3rd and 6.
Bro.
And I saw the 3-by-1 formation, and then I saw the motion. And when they motioned, and this is when I texted in the group chat, I was like, bro, I love Isaac Yiadom for special teams. I said, but get this man off my field as a corner.
Bro.
Because he looks so lost. And they run that 3-by-1 set. They run a man in motion to kind of reconfigure the 3-by set. And then he's backed off, completely off of his man. And that guy runs underneath right to the sideline, catches the ball, first down. And it's like, I saw that on my phone. I'm like, bro, they're going to him. You already backed off. You looking scared. You chopping your feet. That's exactly where they're going. So I don't think they did much to confuse. I just think they lined it up and they knew who they could attack. And I think Kevin O'Connell is good at doing that from an offensive standpoint.
So is Sean McVay, though. Like, this is my point.
But
come on, bro.
I can't say that because at the time that happened, Justin Jefferson wasn't in the game.
They were
still able to cook.
Bro, I had it loaded in the clip. I was waiting for you to mess up. I was waiting for you to slip. I was waiting.
So you're right. We saw some good things, at least in the preseason, and I know it's the preseason. So
we did not see good things from Isaac Yiadom because he didn't play.
No, I'm talking about from the Rams. We saw good things from Jordan Whittington.
Yes. Yes.
Peachy
The
just
rookie,
mentioned
Texas.
Peachy just mentioned Tutu Atwell. Demarcus Robinson is a veteran. So, like, Matthew Stafford is a veteran. He knows how to get the ball to his guys. So if you think that Sean McVay isn't watching that film and saying, where's 22? Go after 22, you're sadly mistaken. So I would love to see them pull 22 off the field and get my young boy Renardo Green out there, because I think he's more of a dog. I think he's a better cover corner. I think he's more tenacious, more ferocious. I think he's looking to make a play. You know, can that bite him in the butt? Sure it can, but he needs to learn that, right? We've been talking about getting our young guys experience and playing time for however many years Nitty Gritty Niners has been going on, and why we let these young guys sit on the bench and watch instead of getting valuable experience in meaningful games, not just preseason, is beyond me. And so I want to see Green. I don't want to see Isaac Yadam, because I think if we see Isaac Yadam, I think we might see some big plays from that Rams offense that keeps them in the game longer than they need to be.
Here's my thing, right? If Green plays,
Facts, Ralph. That's a fact. That too.
If Green plays and he messes up, I'm okay with that.
Yes.
But if a veteran plays
and messes up,
we got some issues and repercussions. Yes, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's my issue. You know what I mean? And so, like, that's why I was like so harsh on him, because it's like, bro, you a vet. You had to see 3x1s, and you have to know what your role is in that particular type of situation. I don't care, but if you're lined up, why are you worried about the motion man? Like the man in motion, if you're not playing man, that man's gonna be covered by his own coverage. At the end of the day, whoever was responsible for covering the flat effed up. That's how I look at it. I don't want to see that. They need to fix that. They need to work on that in practice. Here's the thing: if the Niners can get 50+% on their third down conversions, they won't lose. I'll leave it at that. They just get third downs. They got to be over 50%. And my number for rushing got to be 35 minimum attempts. Like the attempts. They get 35 attempts, that means that they're doing the damn thing and they're going to be productive. So if the Niners do those specific things, I don't care who they trot out there from Los Angeles, the Niners aren't losing this game. Now, I thought that they would do that against the Vikings, and they chose not to. I think we ran the ball 24 times. It was weird. We threw the ball. We dropped back 45 times. That's not the number. That's not it. Brock Purdy's not Tom Brady. And even Tom Brady lost games when he had to drop back 45 to 51 times. Like,
right.
Common sense would tell you the defenses are waiting for the pass.
That's actually how he lost that Super Bowl to Philly, as a matter of fact. Bingo.
But it was because that was the game plan.
Yeah.
They took away the run. They didn't have great running backs.
Mm-hmm.
The screen game was boom, done. And so they did that. This is my guy right here. Breezy, the Niners defense have to keep teams under 30%. And that was my other... Bro, you were so smart. Yeah. That was my other take. Third down sucks for the San Francisco 49ers. Mm-hmm. And it's been sucking for the past couple of seasons. And for it to continue to be bad, I think is more of the issue. Because it's like, if it's not the coordinator, then who is it? It's got to be the person. It's got to be the players. They're not grasping something on the third down concepts. They're not grasping. They're playing too deep. They're playing too off, soft, whatever you want to call it. And they're just getting these out routes. And it's just crazy. I think the third down that really irked me was when Sam Darnold ran for like 22 yards.
Oh, yes, that...
The coverage was good, but nobody accounted for the quarterback.
It's like, did people not remember that this dude can run? Because it was almost like it was just something new. And I'm like, did y'all not remember that Sam Darnold can move?
His
Like, what?
biggest explosive play, Peachy, was like a 67-yard touchdown run, like when he was with the
crazy.
Panthers. Like that was his biggest explosive play. Like it was bigger than now. His biggest explosive play is a 97-yard pass.
Exactly.
But prior, it was that run. It was that run. Listen, got a lot of shows on the channel this week. I'm super excited. We're going to be previewing this. This is the early preview. You guys want to do some early score predictions real quick, and then we jump up off here? Because I want to watch this game. Who wants to go first?
38-10 Niners. I'm going.
Oh yeah, see, I'm 34-13. That's my number. That's I'm with it. I'm 34-13. I'll talk to all that. I'm 34-13. Yep.
Yeah. Mine was close to that. I have 34-17.
Okay. 17. Cool. 17. What was yours again? Most 10, you said?
38-10.
Okay. If we could score 38 points, whew, I'm buying Mo some ice cream. I'm gonna go with the 34-13. I think the Niners figure out how to get back to what they do. This is a team where I don't want to say they get right against, but this is a divisional game.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. Guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in to Nitty Gritty Niners Talk. We appreciate you. You know we love you. Stay up, y'all. Make sure 31-14. I like that. 2 touchdowns. I don't want to give up 2 touchdowns to to Matthew Stafford and nobody's. Like, I don't want to give up 2 touchdowns, but I do need Kyron Williams to score. So if it's his 2 touchdowns, that's perfect. You know what I'm saying? Kyron Williams. That's the only guy I need to score. But guys, great show. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back obviously next Monday to recap the game and preview the Patriots game. The Patriots be coming into town in about a week or so. So guys, stay up, man. Keep it faithful to the Bay out there, and always keep it nitty gritty, man. Don't let nobody tell you how to fan. You fan the way you want to fan.
Right.
If it's gritty, then do it gritty, baby. We out this joint. Peace.
Hey,
Breezy, gritty, this that Niners
Mo's
talk.
nose.
Peachy, gritty, this that Niners
it's
talk.
about that time. Everybody turn your TVs on. The Mo's knows Peachy, Breezy, and Fair to God. They keep it nitty gritty when they bring you Nana Talk. We 2 gorilla silverback, nah, silver
You know it's
hawks.
busting the discussion cause we get it in. Every time you know we grinding, I was 8-10. We always play to win. The faithful going hard. It's Wayne, Breezy, Peachy, Mo's nose, and Fear to God. Let's get it.
Nitty gritty, this the Niners talk. Don't like it, better take a walk. Nitty gritty, this the Niners talk. We outline players up in chalk. Nitty gritty, this the Niners talk. Don't like it, better take a walk. Nitty gritty, this the Niners talk. Niners talk. Nitty gritty, this the Niners talk.